Okay, Al, give her a rip, buddy.
It certainly was top-down weather the last few days, eh?
It's gorgeous. I mean, today is really nice. It's just perfect. Not too hot.
I'm going to a pool party today. I would rather it be 30 than 20.
Well, it's still going to be, I mean, you'll have a few Heinekens, so it'll be fine. It'll just level right off.
Stella actually is my preferred choice of beverage.
Stella?
Yes.
Oh, you mean the movie or the actual?
Stella. No, the beer from Holland, Belgium, I think it is.
Yeah.
Stella?
It's very good. Yeah, Brian Max is away. He's down in Detroit with his guys, getting ready for the Detroit Grand Prix. So it's me, along with Alan Gilman.
Yes, although
good show today.
Brian is, in touch with us technically. I mean, I did get a text from him. He told me his driver did okay.
Yeah.
He kissed the wall, which is a nice way of putting it. But apparently it was just cosmetic damage because he did still place 5 out of 20. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, they I think the qualifying again is this afternoon. And then the actual race goes later on this afternoon. So he says, I'm not stressed. He's got a twitch going on. I have a twitch when I watch the Leafs.
Well, I did text him back and say, listen, tell your driver if he's going to kiss anybody, okay, make sure it's the rear bumper of the guy in front of him. And that's called a bump and run. Did you know that?
Yes.
That's kind of legal. So, if you got to get it, if he won't move out of your way, you have to move him and then deny it afterwards.
It's kind of like driving in the Don Valley Parkway when you're trying to get off at Woodward. That's there's you get that lane, right? You got one lane, and then there's a sign above. It says, up ahead, it's going to narrow down, and everybody goes to the right side.
Oh, I have a friend who does that.
It's such a pleasant thing. And I'm sitting there with my wife, and we're driving a couple days ago, and I said, do I let him in? She says, well, unless you want to fix $2,000 for the little grays.
Yeah.
It's a challenge driving in the city now. It's like more birds flying, and I don't mean
And you know what? And I see both spectrums because my wife is like, I'm not letting that guy in. He knew that was a merge, and I'm not letting him in, right?
It's true.
And my buddy is the guy who's like, Al, where are you going? Just stay here. I said, but do you not see the arrow in the lane ends? They'll let you in. They have to.
No, they don't. When we get into situations like that, that's when I'd love to have had my old 62 Chevy pickup because it was beaten to crap.
The beater,
right?
Exactly.
And I would go, okay, come on, just hit it. It doesn't matter. It's got enough dents.
That's right. You get the chrome horn, it's called. The chrome horn.
Listen, we've got some great stuff coming up. We have Amy Bradley is going to be on for a couple things in a few minutes because RV camping is starting, and now with all the dry weather, there are some major restrictions that put into place late last night that you may not know about. So she'll tell you more about that and some collector car clubs that are coming up. What else we got on the agenda?
Well, we have the announcement of the worst roads of the year in the province with Teresa Di Felice from CAA.
See?
And
remember, Dave used to like calling her Teresa Di Felice. Molto bene, hai ganato.
My Italian's not so good.
No. Go to Lisbon instead. But some of the roads that are listed, I mean, there's 10, right? But they could put about 1,000.
And you know what? And there always seem to be the same kind of one.
Yeah.
We know there's a reason for it. I mean, it's not just the case of the government being lax. I mean, when they give a job out to like the people doing the subway and stuff, spend like the last 18,000 years doing it, that messes the street up. I mean, so you just have to put in your head, I'm just going to avoid Eglinton.
Well, if you're going out of the city, like a lot of people listen to the station up in Guelph and Kitchener and Hamilton and up in Barrie, I mean, some of the side roads that you would take, like Trafalgar Road, Highway 6 up. Ka-thump. What was that? I got low-profile tires. This is nice.
Very low now.
And, a lot of people want to get their cars washed.
Yes.
This time of year, it's beautiful.
And we
I
got
actually like doing it in the driveway, but...
Hang on. We got a guy who does that.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing how that worked out.
Are you riding a Segway today?
No, I'm not. Just keep going. It's so far.
All right,
okay.
we got David Tait from Elegant Motoring. They're headquartered here in Toronto. They provide world-class paint protection. They do cleanup, ceramic coating if you want that. If you like, you see a lot of cars, like hot cars now with the I guess it's called a wrap, where they have that fancy finish on the car.
Yeah.
He does that.
But he's going to talk about the supposed clean water that you get when you go through a car wash. It's unbelievable what he's going to talk about because I
think you have tongue in cheek there, Steve.
What do you mean?
Tongue in cheek. It's not really all that clean, is what you were saying.
No, it sometimes makes Lake Ontario look like a Brita water filter. It's terrible. And if you go to davescornergarage.com right now, register to win a set of tires from Triangle Tire and a $250 Esso gift card. Do that now, and we'll be back with Amy Bradley from Wayfarer Insurance. Take us out, Al.
I thought you just did. We're out of here. We'll be right back.
Automotive blogs.
Welcome back to Dave's Corner Garage, and I'm going to hand it over to Alf, who's got a very quiet, laid-back individual from Wayfarer Insurance, Amy Bradley.
I did, and actually what we're going to be talking about is summer storms and things can go wrong, and I thought we just experienced that. You know, our producer Carlos got Amy on the line, and next thing you know, he goes, she's gone. And I said, oh my God, a tree fell down on the telephone pole, and we're beat. Mother Nature at his best can be very dangerous. Am I not right, Amy?
You are absolutely right. It's one of the worst things when you're camping. But I will say, even with the wind, where I am at, just outside of Lindsay, it's pretty windy today, which keeps the bugs away, but fantastic for camping, which is one of the things. You know how you said Mother Nature? Well, with this wind, and if you're camping, you're probably having your awning out. And I'm going to touch on awnings and the fires, if that's okay.
By all means.
Because, yeah, so with your awnings, with this wind, your awnings are technically just for shade. And I get it, because I can't do the wind. It's like, oh, I'm going to put it out. I'm going to. Sometimes people use, the dog screws that you put into the ground.
Yeah.
And then you get a bungee cord, and you hook it up to keep the awning from not flying up, ripping your trailer, just everything. And you're going to ask me, has that happened before? Absolutely. And you know me, I'm going to tell you life experiences. So we go camping.
You're not going to throw your dad underneath the bus again, are you?
Not this time,
Okay.
But wait until we get to the clutch car stuff. This time it's me, because I'm Mother of the Year award, and my husband, we couldn't get out of our trailer. And we left our awning out all night. It wasn't tied down. It wasn't anything. We tried to open our door. And I should mention, we had a huge rainstorm that night.
Right.
Thunder, everything. And when you're in a trailer, you can actually hear your awning flapping. I was like, oh, no. So needless to say, it wasn't a good night. We woke up. Well, we couldn't open the door. We could only open it just a hair to get out. I couldn't fit out the door. So what do? You shove your smallest kid through the door and hand him a broom. So, yes, if you can guess what happened, all the rain went down the middle. And those awnings, by golly, do they stretch.
So with Wayfarer Insurance, just to jump in for a sec, so if that happens, what kind of coverage do people have? Because they're saying it's going to be a very hot, stormy summer, whether you have a big RV or a small one, or you've got a trailer, or you're just camping yourself. Like, how are people protected? Yeah?
With us, absolutely, you're covered. Because now these big rigs, or the big units, I'll say, you just don't have one on a couple of awnings throughout on the sides, because they're getting big, because it's your home away from home for most people when you go camping.
You're
covered.
Why don't they make you're covered? You're covered to get it. Why don't they make them a little more robust? I mean, I would have thought that you'd want to be sitting out there, and even if it does rain, they can't make them waterproof or make the arms sturdier. What's the deal there?
No, everything's aluminum, because you try and make your trailer lightweight, right?
Ah, okay.
They are really sturdy. They are sturdy because they can hold a lot of wind. But, well, there's a lot of rain, I'll tell you, on our awning, and it's waterproof. But if that would have tore off, it would have been covered with us.
Good stuff.
Absolutely. Because you've got your fire, because sometimes, and notice how I brought that up.
Smooth.
And I'll talk about this right after to make sure I get that in. So a lot of the campsites are pretty tight. And if you've ever had a big rig, you know it's going to be tight. Park away from your fire pit.
Duh.
Because
So speaking of fire pits, with these new regulations that have hit as of last night, so say you're camping and you're in an RV, and a person next to you has just got a campsite going with a fire pit, and it's a $2,500 fine now if you're caught with a fire, whether it's a fire pit or even a cigarette. Mm-hmm. So if you're in your own trailer, and the people next to you are not in a trailer, and something happens with a fire and it spreads, are you guys? How are you covered?
Yep, you are covered with us because it has happened. We've had a lot of seasonal people. One of the trailers caught on fire, and good gust of wind, I'm going to use today as an example, came and just took out a couple of units.
Ooh.
You are covered. With us, you have fire coverage. For the trailers and towables, if it's 15 years and newer, you have what's called an all-risk coverage.
Great. Okay, listen, stay with us because we're gonna come back and talk about not just with RVs with Wayfarer Insurance, but also collector cars, and there'll be a lot of beautiful cars going for rides this weekend. So we'll talk about that and some events that you've got coming up. Okay?
Yes.
So stay with us.
Good.
Want to see how photogenic we are?
We're back Saturday morning here on Dave's Corner Garage, and besides RV coverage, people are going to be out with their collector cars. So over to you, Al.
Amy Bradley, you kept saying, you got to call us. We cover it. What's the name of the company?
Wayfarer Insurance Group.
There you go.
We revolve around you. We're your lifestyle brand. And do you know what? The last segment we have. One thing I'm going to say with the fires, check your fire extinguishers in your RVs. Make sure they haven't expired.
And make sure you know how to use them, eh?
Oh, absolutely.
Because just you buy it and you hang it up on the wall, and the next thing you know, you go, oh, shoot, now I need it. What do I do with it?
Have you ever tried one, like the first time you ever used it, and you had no idea the force of it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we did that. We were camping one year, and it was like, how come Steve's next to the tree right now? Boom. Anyway, Al, talk about the car clubs with them.
All right, automobiles that are at least 25 years of age, including, I guess this is important, I wouldn't have realized that a lot of people have bigger vehicles as well. They use retired military trucks. I know Cam Woolley has a big collection, dump trucks, snowplows. You cover like everything.
We do. We pretty much do. Not only your collector cars, but if you have custom, modified, special interest, and you're going to say, Amy, what's special interest? You know how maybe you'll get the first car, like a Hellcat, the first one off the line? Well, those are your special interests. Like, they're special cars, and you're not going to use them every day. They're like a collectible.
Right.
And we also have your exotics as well.
So they would. So here, let me just stop you for a second. So if I went down to a dealership and found a Hellcat that was maybe only 2 or 3 years old, it would still qualify to be insured by you guys, then, eh?
As long as you're not driving it every day.
Okay.
And there's like extra special, like it's a special edition or something.
No, exactly. No, I understand that.
Yeah.
It's a limited edition car. They've only made it for 2 years. They've only put out 1,000 of them. People are lining up to get them, so that would be covered. So that doesn't have to be 25 years or more.
No.
Now, let's say your car's been parked for 25 years or more. What do you do before you get it out for the season?
Well, do you know what? You want to check your tires because, when they sit all year, they're going to go a little flat on the bottom. And then you're going to drive and you're going to go plump, 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 and it's not going to be an enjoyable ride. So make sure you check your tires and they're at your PSI to make sure your tires are fully up and ready to go. So they're inflated. I'll tell you, my dad, sorry, Dad, I'm throwing you out too.
Under the bus again.
I know. And you're going to ask me, did I have one when I was younger? Yep. Did I play in it? Yep. Did I get in trouble? Yep. And even it was a Dodge Plymouth, a 1938, and I thought it was the coolest car ever. I used to, they're all stick back then, and I used to pretend and jamming it, changing gears.
Were you moving?
Dad used to come in the garage. I used to have to duck. Now I understand what he used to talk about and say, get out of that darn car, Amy.
Yeah, darn's a good word. I'm sure he used that. Listen, what are some of the car shows that you guys are going to be at in the next couple of weeks?
The next couple of weeks. So if you want, you can come see me at Northland Ramblers Car Club. That's in Port Perry. Now, I'm going to be there, and just to let you know, if you're looking at that, it's at a new location. You want to go to Scugog Shores Museum Village. And so that's just, if you go.
Gotta love technology.
All right, Amy, I'm just going to jump in here quickly.
Next Saturday.
If you want to find out where all the other shows are, there's lots everywhere. You go on the website. I went there myself. I could not believe how many different shows there are, and it's all over the province. You go to wayfarinsurancegroup.com, and you can find out where they all are. Amy, you back?
Yeah. So you just go on there, and it will tell you every one car clubs that are available. Even if you want to take your dad on Father's Day, they have a bunch of Father's Day car shows coming up as well. Even Kent Street, and that's in Lindsay. So Classic on Kent. It's come back this year. And so they literally closed down downtown Lindsay. That's the main drag, or the main street, I should say. Hundreds of cars come down. There's hundreds.
Yeah, the show is great. I mean, they have all these cars, and they have chip trucks, which is worth just the price of admission by itself.
Like going around with French fries, hooking up the cars. That's one of the best things to do it.
If people want more information about the different car clubs that you have, and also where the events are taking place, how do they find out?
Just go to our website. If you want, you can go to rvingtips.ca.
Right.
We do have a link there that will say collector cars. Then just go to our event calendar, and they're all in there.
All right,
then you can come and see me.
Okay. Very good. Al?
Are you going to be beside some salvage car yourself?
Oh, no, I won't be taking my truck. Actually.
It's not old enough.
Beautiful.
It is. It's a 66. You know when I said I was hiding from my...
Oh, I thought you were talking about your Nissan.
I get it, 100%.
All right, you take care. Have a great weekend, and stay safe.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy your weekend,
Thanks,
everyone.
you too. Bye-bye.
The Worst Roads in Ontario campaign every year. CAA's got the results with Teresa Di Felice coming up next on Dave's Corner Garage.
Now streaming on YouTube. Our very best.
Well, you may think that I would have a different perspective being in the garage business for 42 years, that I like when cars get damaged a little bit. That's how we put, food on the table.
You're a pothole man, aren't you?
Well, the CAA will try to avoid you from having to come to Glen Allen Motors by telling you which roads are the worst. And we've got the list. This year is the 20th annual one, and we've got Teresa Di Felice on the phone, Vice President of Government and Community Relations for CAA. How you doing, Teresa?
I'm great, thank you.
World's worst, province's worst roads. we see that, as much as we complain about them, a lot of them keep showing up. Why is that?
Well, usually it's because they are major arterials with, big fixes, and they have to get fixed in stages.
Right.
On a couple of the ones on the list, they've been the home of some other big projects that need to be completed first before they can fix the roads, because they're, for instance, Eglinton Avenue West in Toronto made it to number 2 this year, and that's the home of the, one of the biggest transit projects in the country, which is the Eglinton Crosstown LRT.
We call it the demilitarized zone in our area.
Yes, my daughter lives 2 blocks away.
Oh,
and
it's
like
insane.
You always have to plan how the heck you're going to get there.
We could almost do like a David Letterman top 10 worst. So give us a rundown of the top 15 that you've listed so far as what came up in your voting for the worst roads.
Yeah, so the number 1 road in Ontario, as voted on by Ontarians, and probably mostly from this particular city, is Barton Street East in Hamilton. And so this is the second year in a row that Barton Street East has gotten this distinction of being the number 1 road in Ontario, or worst road in Ontario. We also have Eglinton Avenue West in Toronto. Interestingly enough, Eglinton Avenue East fell off the list this year. And we could talk a little bit about that. County Road 49 in Prince Edward County. Gotta love that Prince Edward County residents have really rallied together over the last few years to make sure that they always have a road in the top 10 and wanting to get their roads fixed. Carling Avenue in Ottawa is number 4. Finch Avenue West in Toronto made the list this year, and so that's a bit of a new entrance to the Ontario Worst Roads list. Lackley Street now really is also new to the Ontario top 10 worst roads. Steeles Avenue East hasn't been on the list in 14 years, and lo and behold, it's taken the number 7 spot. Aberdeen Avenue in Hamilton. So Hamiltonians are happy that they are getting attention and elected to have another road show up on the top 10, and this is the first time we've seen Aberdeen on the list. And then Lakeshore Boulevard East in Toronto, and a new entrance also to the Ontario Worst Roads list is Mississauga's Hurontonio Street.
So you said people are writing in a lot of heat in Hamilton. Having gone to a few Ticats games, the Barton Street is definitely one of them. But it's with the elections coming up, municipally especially. I mean, what can people do to make changes that are really going to take place? How do they help?
Well, see, and this is one of the things that's interesting, right? When you finally get some face time with a politician, whether they're knocking at your door or you're going to a community meeting, you're usually discussing, other things, right? You could be talking about very important issues, crime in your community or, just housing issues, depending on, what you're interested in. And we did a survey earlier this year as well, and 78% of people are talking about bad roads, which is a 6% increase in the survey we did last year, but they're not talking about them with their politicians. And in fact, only like 3% are talking about it with their politicians. And so, if roads are, and we know roads are of concern to people are telling us that, and this survey is clearly stating that, remember to sort of bring up that you want to see the investment in infrastructure and take pride in your community in having good roads, plus the safety aspects of it. Because we know people are swerving, they're slowing down, all kinds of behaviors in order to deal with the bad roads. They're taking side streets, and then, others end up, as you said, in a mechanic's garage because they're experiencing damage.
Exactly, and it's not... as much, I don't know where the rumor started that the city will help pay for your repair because it almost never happens. I mean, maybe 10% of the time.
Well, I
lost the rules to report it are almost impossible.
It's true because I lost a low-profile tire a couple of years ago. So I took it to my local MP, and it was like, yeah, what kind of tires are you using? I won't go into the brand, but he said, yeah, we'll try and take care of it for you. Zero.
No, nothing.
So
yeah, no,
it's important to try and put some heat.
No,
on
but
it.
As much as we want to, like they just put up a big sign on our street, on our local street, saying infrastructure repairs, blah blah blah, pavement redoing, and my other half, my wife says, "Oh my God, look at the sign." I said, "Well, they're trying to fix it. They have to fix it. If we have a sewer issue, they got to dig up the road. So it's not a case of, they're just ignoring the roads. When they do a repair underneath the road, they have to repave it. And at least, our tax dollars are going somewhere, and they are making the repairs. But unfortunately, everybody, like you say, everybody has to drive. So you got to watch where you're driving.
Teresa, we had somebody write in on, actually a couple people write in on our Facebook page that if they hit a pothole, say it's anywhere in Southern Ontario, and the tire gets blown out, and they're a CAA member, is there any kind of coverage that they can secure with that? So
we have certain coverages under if you're a CAA insurance member. There's the CAA insurance company,
right.
And there are some provisions in terms of tire repairs if you're as part of your policy. So you'd have to sort of look into that when you're getting a quote from CAA, and if you're an insurance customer of CAA. It's not part of your membership in terms of the roadside assistance. We'll come get you, we'll come help you and get you where you got to go, but there isn't tire coverage as part of your roadside assistance program.
Right, as you say, you got to look up these things before you have the problem. But yeah, at least if you have the roadside assistance, they're great. They come as quickly as they can. I had a car towed in, as a matter of fact, last week, all the way from downtown, and it was there within an hour, and I thought that was amazing.
Well, thanks. So we were very pleased to hear that.
Yeah.
A couple of other things. You actually said, what else can people do is when you see a pothole, not while you're driving, of course, but report it. Or when you see like a really big road safety concern, report it. Because part of the issue when people put in a claim is that the city had to have known about the problem and neglected and were negligent in fixing it. And so if a pothole gets reported and they don't act on it, whether it's they go put a quick fix of some asphalt, sometimes you've seen pylons at a really big pothole, and because they don't have time to get a truck out there to fill it with something. So if they actually haven't addressed it and fixed it, then you're more likely to have success in a claim. But if they didn't know about it in the first place, it's really a claim of negligence, that the city caused damage due to negligence is what those claims are.
Do you know how or where you do make that report or phone call to?
The city, if you go onto the city's website, so there's a few things. You can, if you're in the city of Toronto, you can call 311.
Right.
Other municipalities also have 311 service. It's not all across Ontario, but and then if you just sort of call into your city works department and sort of file, or whether you're calling in, emailing, texting, sending a Twitter message, there's Facebook, there's all kinds of municipalities have embraced all the social tools, and you can get that information into the city that you live in. That would be the best way.
Yeah, I did it the old-fashioned way. I actually phoned someone in Markham, and this lovely lady said, "This isn't my department, but let me hook you up with the person who can." And believe it or not, the next day my wife got a knock on the door.
Whoa.
Yeah,
just like Uber.
To tell her, "Hi, I see you're a little bit concerned, and we're going to be doing this, and here's our schedule." Very, very nice and quick reply. So we were really happy about that.
I think it's like when you drive around now, like you can't go literally 4 blocks anywhere in this GTA without some kind of construction going on. And although the pylons are there, it's just the way they're fixing them. Like, and I drive along the Gardiner quite a bit. They use this tar that's like a strip,
right?
These lines of it, and they last maybe a month, and then they're gone. So it's you have to be really careful because you don't want to get
really
a tire.
important. Getting back to the car manufacturers now, people wanted cars that were sexy looking and had big wheels and tires.
Yep.
And they've provided that, but of course, they didn't tell you beforehand that they really were putting you at risk. Because if Steve, you lost a tire years ago on your old car, so that maybe that was $100 for a tire and $100 for an alignment, and you're good to go. Well, now that won't even cover a tire, let alone the other damage that's caused, because these big fancy aluminum wheels break. Okay, when they get hit, they crack, they get bent. Aluminum wheel can be $800 to $1,000 for just that wheel. So you can be looking at a repair of $2,000 for nothing, just for hitting the damn pothole. There you go. And you're going to be doing another campaign next year?
Absolutely. We've hit our 20th year of this campaign. Started in 2003. We took a little pause, of course, in during the pandemic as there were other priorities to be focused on. But it's actually gained traction over the years. No municipality wants to see their municipality on the list, but at the same time, we have really good conversations. CA's government relations team follows up with the municipalities that appear on the list to have a conversation about infrastructure. We've advocated to senior levels of government to help municipalities have dedicated funding from the senior levels and the gas taxes to fix roads. But really it's people engaging and letting their politicians know where those pain points are that really helps make the case. And, we're seeing successes even with some of the top 10 that are on the list this year, and they may have, reappeared from last year or are new. But last year, Barton Street East had an announcement made that they were going to start doing some fixes. Lackley Street, which ended up on the list, got some dedicated funding just recently from their municipality. All
right, Teresa, I got to jump in. I'm sorry, but we've run out of racetrack here, so avoid the potholes. Make sure that you have roadside assistance because you're going to hit one of those potholes. And if you do, again, see one, take a picture of it, call 311, report it, and that way they'll get fixed. Thanks for your great work.
My pleasure. Take care.
All right, take care. This is Dave's Corner Garage. We're going to be back after the break with David Tait from Elegant Motoring.
Car wash time, information that you're going to want to stick around and find out about.
I hear it's illegal. You can't wash your own.
No, you can't wash in your own driveway now.
That's silly, eh?
Just like road hockey. We won't get into hockey.
Give me the olden days. This is Dave's Corner Garage. We'll be right back.
Okay, son. Pothole time. And now we're going to take care of your car as far as keeping it clean, but what you should know about it. Camera 34 over to Alan Gelman, right side.
Yeah, apparently you can't wash your own car in the driveway anymore.
Yeah,
What happened with that?
It's crazy.
And apparently, Steve, you were leading to the fact that apparently going to a regular automated car wash isn't such a great idea either.
Well, and a matter of fact, we have a gentleman on the air who's going to tell you more about it. David Tait from Elegant Motoring. How are you, David?
Fantastic. How are you guys?
Great. Listen, we got chatting yesterday about other things, so we steered over to car washes. And a lot of people on the weekends, especially when you're going somewhere, the car's been dirty all week, they take it into the local car wash. So shed some light on what's really going on that car.
Yeah, basically it's, today's what you see in the city, all the grease, oils, and different things, the brine solutions they use for salt nowadays instead of salt itself, it's just heavier dirt and gook. So the automated car wash companies are trying to keep your cars clean. So they're actually using higher acidic or pH chemicals to strip that dirt off. And when it does that, basically anything that you use to try and protect your car and so on and so forth, like waxes are gone in one wash.
Wow.
So, and then at the same time, even the water itself, people think going to a safe, going to a touchless car wash is great because it's not going to damage the paint. The problem is that it's not cost effective for them to use fresh water every time they wash a car. So they recycle that water. So all the heavy sediment goes through what they call, the water goes through what they call cascade filters. So basically the heavy sediment falls to the bottom, but you still have that really light particulate that's floating around in that water that they're just blasting on your car. So it tends to dull the paint and make it, you don't get that deep color. Your paint's kind of milky, not just from the UV damage, but also from the car wash itself. So it's not the most ideal thing to do. And then I even see people these days spending thousands of dollars on ceramic coatings, not necessarily knowing what they're actually buying. And there's only a few ceramic coatings on the market that can even withstand the high pH or acidity of the car washes these days. Most of them that people are spending thousands of dollars on are just getting washed away as well.
All right, I have a 2-year-old car. It's kind of getting dull. I want to get it cleaned up and coated. What's the process?
Well, basically, you bring it down to a professional shop. They'll actually assess the paint, see how much damage is done to it.
Right.
They'll do a paint correction on it, make sure it's got that shine, bring back all the get rid of all the damage that's been done.
Right.
And then, depending on the coating that you're using, if you go with a good coating, like a fine lap product, basically what it'll do is they'll actually apply it. They'll bake it with an IR lamp. And then that way it's fully protected. It won't wash away. It's got high chemical resistance. So not only from the car wash, won't wash it away, but any stains from that might be caused from bird droppings, tree sap, bug guts, all the stuff that you get day to day, even pollen, will just basically wash off.
What traditionally? How long, if you use the better coating, how long does it actually last? Like, is it a 6 months or a year, or how long?
Yeah, it all depends on the coating package that's chosen. It's like walking into a restaurant, right? There's tons of options.
Right.
So you just kind of choose the package that's best suited for you. And usually if you talk to the proprietor, if you come down to our shop, we'll actually walk you through the process, ask you how you drive the car, where you park the car, what area you're in, does it go underground, so on and so forth, how often you wash the car, and we'll put you into a package that will best suit your needs. As well, we'll ask you, how long you plan on keeping the car.
Yeah,
and we'll also ask you if you have a budget.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Well, it costs money to do it, especially.
Yeah, but you're protecting an investment too. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, I've been watching this show, Dirty Cars. Do you ever watch that?
Yep.
I think it's kind of staged, but it is amazing the process and the time it takes to go through it. I mean, you got a car that's pretty ratty. You have to hose it down, and then you got to get the clay bar out, and then you got to polish it, and then just the amount of work is crazy. I think people really appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing, right? You got two ends of the spectrum. On one hand, you got the customer that's like, "Oh my God, that's so much money,"
right?
And it's a 2-day process,
right.
2 to 3
right,
days,
exactly.
Right? So it's not quick, right? But then at the same time, they're like, well, how long is it going to take before I get my car back? And I'm like, well, I'd like to make the money faster and have it done in a couple hours, but I wouldn't be able to charge as much as well, right?
No, we just had a car in that belonged to my wife's cousin, and it was a white MDX, and I knew it was only a year old, but it looked like hell, and I
Really?
felt bad after we put her tires on. I thought, well, I'm just going to bring it in, hose it down, and just give it a quick wash. Well, it did nothing. The hood was still all colored, and when she came to pick it up, and I said, where the heck do you park this car? And she says, oh, my damn neighbor and his tree.
The sap and everything.
Oh,
Pollen?
she said, well, if I get one of them Mr. Clean erasers out, I can get it out. But the damage, I couldn't believe it how, like I say, even with a scrub brush and soapy water, I couldn't get it off. So you really have to leave it to the professionals sometimes.
Even the damage, David, I was playing, I was attempting to play golf a few weeks ago. Parked the car, and of course, the Canadian geese really love your cars this time of the year. So there was a present when I got back, and I left the car unwashed for like a week and a half, which was not the smartest move in the world.
No.
And I came back, and I got it washed at my local car wash, and there was actually a stain on the black part of the car, and I can't get it off. So what happens in a case like that?
Yeah, so it totally depends. Like I'll give you an example. Even on my own car, the shoemaker always has the worst shoes, right? So when I got my car brand new, I couldn't get it into the shop. We were just too busy. And I left it for like 6 months. I got bird droppings and stuff on it. And we literally, we went to town trying to get it out. The acidity in the bird droppings, the same as this acidity in the soaps and stuff that I was referring to earlier, it actually seeped right through in one spot, basically where the bird dropping is, right through the clear and distorted the entire clear right down to the color. So you just couldn't get rid of it. So I ended up I had it all over the front of my car. Mm-hmm. I ended up having to repaint the front clip to remove it.
Oh, wow.
So depending on how, and my car is a dark colored car, dark blue, that Tesla blue. Mm-hmm. Depending on how long you leave it, it's going to cause a lot of damage. Same as tree sap as well. Tree sap can literally eat right through to the clear into the metal.
All right, David, what's the address and phone number? How do we get in touch with you?
20 Jutland Road, 416-897-5675. Give us a call anytime or check out our website, elegantmotoring.ca.
That's right. Get that poop off, and don't leave it, eh? Because he told you he had to paint the car to fix it in the end.
It's wicked.
Time is your enemy.
Yeah. Canadian geese, we just love you so much.
David, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Enjoy,
all right.
guys.
Elegant Motoring. Check them out. They're in Toronto. They do world-class protection. They're going to clean it up and make it last so it looks great for a long time. Long time is what we don't have. I have to jump out. This is Dave's Corner Garage. We'll be right back.
Care to state your opinion on something you heard on the
Welcome back to Dave's Corner Garage, and everybody's going to go look at their car going, how do I get it washed this time? It's important. I mean, that stuff, it can really ruin your paint.
Well, really, and the key is just to not leave it there. Because, I had a problem years ago with a car where I lived in an apartment building, and it was multi-level. So there were cars parked above my car, right?
Yeah.
And what would happen there, especially in the wintertime, is as the snow and ice would melt, that water and salt would go through the concrete, and it was quite alkaline, not acidic, but it was alkaline, and it would leave this white stain on your car. And if you didn't clean it, and you went out into the sun and it dried and baked it, you were beat. It went right through the paint.
Yeah.
And there was nobody offering up to paint it, to pay for the paint. So,
and you think you go into your local store, Canadian Tire or something like that, and you're spending like pretty good money to buy some, whatever it's Armor All,
right?
Anything like that. And as Dave was saying, because the pH levels are so high, couple washes and you're back doing it again. But you can't for some reason. I think this happened a couple of years ago, where the city said, you know what, you can't play road hockey anymore.
Right.
So now you can't wash your car in your own driveway anymore.
Oh, is that because of the water shortage, or?
I don't know. They have a couple beers at city council and go, let's do this.
Well, no, I think part of it was the whole idea about recycling and when you're washing your car in your driveway, all that crud that you're washing off is going into the sewer system, ends up in the lake, and whereas opposed to a place like myself or our friends at Crown, they have holding tanks. They don't, they don't just let that stuff go back into the sewer system. They have holding tanks. They get pumped out, by chemical cleaner guys. And
you also get people I was guilty of it once in a while. You leave the hose on and you go back in and go, okay, water's still going. So, the water shortage that's coming up, it's destined to come up with the heat we've had.
Sure.
And all the dust. Plus, if you not everybody has a garage. So if your car is out in the driveway all summer long, it's baking. When we moved back from Winnipeg to here, it was, you go from minus 25 to it's 2. It's really warm here.
Right.
But the paint started cracking because it went from really cold to normal temperatures.
Right. Well, again, it doesn't take much just to get a piece of paper towel and some water, just clean off that poop, and...
What do you use for your
to
clean off your poop and your car?
And you could sing the Canadian national anthem if you want as you're doing it.
Oh.
You're honoring the duck or geese, and say, I appreciate leaving me your autograph here, a little memento of your visit, but I'm going to remove it right now.
And we'd like you to do a visit. Somewhat smooth there, but not really. Go to davescornergarage.com and look for our June promotion. It's going on all month long.
What do they win, Steve?
Well, I'll tell you there, Alan. Nothing in our water today. That's why it's like this.
Water.
You can win your set of Triangle tires and a $250 Esso gift card. So go to davescornergarage.com. You'll see a nice link where it says contest. Click here. It takes you right to it. There's a commercial on there. Tells you all about it. And, gas prices. Dan McTagg from Gas Wizards is now saying, I think they flip a coin and go, it's going to be lit this weekend.
I missed this week. I said it's going to go up, and I bought, and then it went down by 5 cents.
He's saying that it could, by July, it could be $2 a liter.
Wow. But
you convert what we're paying now, it's $1.55 roughly a liter. But we're so used to liters. If you do that to gallons, we're paying $7 a gallon.
Well, I hope they get some cars availability to the manufacturers do, because I'm going to be looking at a hybrid next one for sure.
Yeah, I think Brian and I, the three of us have talked about that. If you have a choice between going full EV, and a hybrid, I would do even though the infrastructure is improving,
right?
I do the hybrid first.
Right, but here, you live in a condo. Do you have access to a charge station?
No, that's the problem.
Exactly.
I'm seeing more of gas stations, though, like Petro-Canada,
right?
The en route stores on the 400 series. More and more are putting in the charging stations.
Right.
But it's getting there. The batteries that's another issue. Plus, they're expensive. Not just the batteries, but the average car.
Yeah, it's a lot of dough.
Have you looked at a hybrid? I won't name a
hybrid.
brand. Yeah.
Well, hybrid's way cheaper than a full-on battery car.
Yeah, true. But an average hybrid is like $45K now.
Right.
Average. And an average EV, you're starting at like $50K.
Yes, but a guy in your tax bracket is no problem.
Taxes?
Are we having lunch? Are you paying? Want to thank Amy Bradley for joining us today. Steve was talking about the dry weather conditions and out there, and Amy said, Your motorhome would be covered if it caught fire. The important thing to remember is that you can't light fires right now.
Anywhere. Even if you're going just to sit in your backyard, or if you're at the cottage right now, like how people are right now who are listening, and you got a fire pit, you can't put it on. Watch the cigarettes, or if you have a pipe going on, real tobacco, you got to be careful with that. So with the winds that are going to be prevalent all weekend, it's going to be a touchy summer.
How long will the marshmallows and graham crackers last if I can't make my s'mores this weekend?
Well, the way apparently that I cook my marshmallows incorrectly, I like the fire right away.
You like to see them burn, eh?
Oh, it's beautiful, and they blow them out and little s'mores, and you go, my God, I'm thirsty. Where's a cold Old Bailey's right now?
Stop making an ass of yourself there, Stevie.
Oh, my God.
And who else? We had, of course, Canada's Worst Roads. We had Teresa Di Felice. CA done a great job. 20 years. They're still reporting on bad roads, and do your best. I actually had someone say to me, my mechanic said you're supposed to go quickly over speed bumps, and I said, honey, they were joking. Okay?
Or they were on medications.
So do try to avoid them. Your tires will love you for doing that. And that's about it. And, of course, go on the Dave's Corner Garage website. You can get a $250 Esso gift card. And if you need tires, that's where you can get some freebies.
Perfect. Triangle Tire, that's the place. And you have a great place wherever you are this weekend. Be safe out there. We'll talk to you next week.
Steve, thanks for filling in.
Okay.
I can tell Brian you did a good job.
Sure.
But he doesn't have to worry about his job being in jeopardy.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Take care, guys. Drive safe. Bye-bye.